We're going to react to some woke TikToks today. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Chat About It. Don't shout about it with me, Rachel, the queen of the woke, as crowned by one of my haters, not by myself. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, switch on the notification bells so that you know I am releasing another video. Thank you to everyone who's joined me already. I cannot run this channel without you. Please keep it friendly in the chat. We haven't really reacted, to woke TikToks for a long time, so I thought it's Tuesday. Let's do it. So here we go. This first one is taken from a Pride March that happened, I believe, recently in London. And I just want to point out that before we begin watching it, I was drawn to the signs. Oh, and be careful, this might blast your ears off. I have tried my best to make the sound better. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people. This is what community looks like. This is what community looks like. There you go. That was the first TikTok. One of the signs says trans rights are human rights. My question is, and it always has been, what rights don't you have? I know there are many things that still need fighting for, more equal opportunities, but you have the right to transition, you have the right to go to the bathroom, you have the right to marry and be in a relationship with whoever you please. You have all these rights. They've not been taken away from you. They still have them. I know the big issue is the bathroom debate, but nothing's been taken away in regards to your human rights. They've obviously got a sign in this as well that says TERF, which means trans exclusionary radical feminist. You will notice there was never a sign for men. I can't think why that might be. If there was one, would it be trans exclusionary radical misogynist, term for short? Now, I feel quite often they would lump men in with the TERF as well. So I don't know, but I just find it very interesting how it's always women that are called into question. Now, one of the signs in this said, and I don't know if you saw it, you might have done, but it says, "Sport is a lifeline. Let us play together." So, in other words, what they're saying is that trans women have the right to be in women's sports and trans men have the right to be in men's sports. Make them integrated, but sports are segregated for a reason. More for trans people having their own category. Go for it. I really am. Do it. But I don't believe sports should be integrated because it's the detriment that it may, give to other people. And you don't want people to be injured or hurt, do you, really, at the end of the day? And you want sports to be fair. And there's also, of course, naturally signs that says trans women are women. And you know what I think, if you've been here for a long time, I think gender dysphoria is a very real thing. But you have to acknowledge your biology. You can transition if you want to, but you've got to remember there is a clear, distinct difference. And when you start blurring the lines, that's when the issues really start to begin. And again, it's another thing of trans women are women. Why is it never anything like trans men are men. So the word woman is really the one that is in question, isn't it? There are other signs as well. One that says protect trans kids. Now, you know what I think about that. There's no such thing as a trans child. I believe children should be children and just that. When they're old enough, that's when they can make the decision. 18 years old here in the UK, and you never know, for the most part, they might just be gay, lesbian, bisexual, asexual, or it's just something that they may grow out of. And naturally, of course, J.K. Rowling gets her usual bashing, but I'm not going to say any more on that. Now, obviously, the trans right protests are all in response to the fact that the Supreme Court ruled earlier on that this year that the word woman means female in the terms of the law, so it's biology. And that is what is causing the chaos here in the UK and has led to the protests that have happened and are still happening. Now, trans people are still protected by the law. I don't know where they got the idea that they weren't going to be. You're not allowed to harass them or anything like that, and they've got access to their own rights, and there's legal ways and avenues for them. And that's great, and they should 100% have that. And all that law was doing was providing a clarification, and people had a big meltdown about it. And we just saw part of that meltdown. So, next up, we have Jeffrey Marsh. Now, we've not reacted to Jeffrey Marsh for quite a long time, but he has appeared in several TikTok reactions. In this TikTok, we're going to look at what Jeffrey is responding to. He's responding to a comment that says, "You're a man in woman's clothing," and that's it. Let's react to see what Jeffrey Marsh has to say.
I mean, sure, fine. It really depends on what you mean by women's clothing and what you mean by man. But setting aside those very philosophical concepts, the most interesting part of your comment to me is that's it. Some people like expansion. Some people like learning. Some people like understanding their fellow humans. Some people like broad new horizons. That's why I coach people to help them stay at the top of their game of empathy, compassion, understanding, seeing new things, learning, growing. But then there are some people in the world that like, and that's it.
First of all, Jeffrey knows exactly what this comment means with regards to women's clothing, although in most circumstances, I would just say wear whatever you want. But, you know, Jeffrey does know what that comment is referring to. And secondly, Jeffrey also knows exactly what the comment means by man. This commenter is referring to biology. Now, Jeffrey, really, when he says philosophical concepts, is talking about the gender spectrum because a lot of people believe that there is biology, male and female, that defines us in our skeletal features and our body features. But then how you feel as a gender is something that is completely separate. And this is the sort of thing that features a lot in Jeffrey's content. Now, shockingly, I can't believe I'm just about to say this. I do agree with Jeffrey in some respects here because people do like expanding on things and expanding the horizons and learning. But Jeffrey doesn't ever, in my opinion, want to learn and listen to the comments around him that are like that. It always feels like to me that his stance is only the right one in his mind. Part of the reason why I react to these types of TikToks is to see if I can broaden my knowledge and see if I disagree or agree. I also agree, again, shocking, with Jeffrey that people should try and stay on top of their game with compassion and empathy. However, a lot of Jeffrey's content reacts to negativity from the comments on the channel. Now, Jeffrey can do that if he wants to, as that will generate the income more than anything positive. But I generally don't find Jeffrey to be as nice as he makes out to be. At least it doesn't feel like it. And I find that of something that is relevant to all of the Be Kind brigade. However, there are also people in the world who see things as black and white with no grey area for whatever reason that is unknown to us. So we need to remember there is that side of it too. And I think that we all have a tendency, myself included, to forget things like that. And the final TikTok reaction that we have today is not a woke one. Shockingly, okay, it's not woke. It's from Blair White. I'm a big fan of Blair White, actually. But let's take a listen and see what she has to say.
If you did have a kid and, at 6 years old, they're starting to experience the same kind of gender identity issues that you were experiencing, how would you handle that?
Oh, Lord. My God. I would let my child be themselves up until the extent of medicalization. So, like, you want to wear what you want to wear? Absolutely. You want to, express yourself visually or through fashion or through, makeup? Have at it. Medicalization, no. You're not taking a pill or signing up for surgery until you're 18.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, and because it's like, why would you do anything permanent and irreversible to someone who has a 60 to 90% chance of growing out of it? I just can't reconcile that in my head.
There's no such thing as a trans child. This was a very difficult question that was presented to Blair. Now, a child, in my opinion, can wear whatever they want. I would say that I would definitely not be switching the child's pronouns if I had a child that I was bringing up. I would have the child remain in the reality of their biology for sure, 100%. But the child could play whatever they want, mess around with makeup, and not too bothered about things like that. I played with chains as a child. I played with a lot of toys that were considered for boys. So, it would be tad hypocritical of me if I didn't allow my child to do that as well. The reason why I put this in, though, is because she's totally 100% against the medicalization of children. I completely agree with that stance there. Medicalization of children and teenagers before they have the complete compos mentis of what they are doing, in my opinion, is radical. It should not be happening. And in my opinion, people should not be supporting it. If you do go through something like this, you should be completely 100% sure that you are trans. So to sterilize a child, potentially, before they made a full, complete decision when they're old enough, they might regret it at the end. And I think we're going to see a rise of detransitioners as well. That's what I think. Anyway, those were the woke TikToks. Let me know what you think. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.